On a quiet evening in March 2025, the city of Chicago lingered in a state of restless anticipation. The streets, slick and shining from a persistent spring drizzle, carried the echoes of distant traffic, their hum and rumble mingling with the murmur of the wind. In her small apartment, Amira Cole sat alone, hunched over her desk, bathed in the pale blue glow of her laptop screen. Outside, the night pressed against the window, smudging the world into darkness. Inside, all was silent except for the faint clicks of her keyboard and the rhythmic tick of her wall clock. Amira was no stranger to late nights. As a journalist chasing the shadows of digital conspiracies, she had grown accustomed to solitude, to the subtle tension between curiosity and caution. But tonight, as she sifted through her inbox, her routine was interrupted. A new message appeared, sent from an unknown address. Its subject was empty, the body blank. Only a single attachment remained. The Whisper Archives. She paused, her mind racing. Instinct urged her to delete the file. The internet was a minefield for anyone digging too deeply, and she had seen enough to know when to step back. Yet curiosity, the dangerous fuel that drove every investigator, pulled her forward. With a trembling hand, she opened the folder. Most files were locked, encrypted beyond her reach. Only one remained accessible, a text document labeled "Welcome, Listener." The message inside was brief, almost cryptic. It read, "This is not about what was done, it's about what was heard. The human mind can be rewritten, not with words, but with whispers." A chill crept along Amira's spine as she leaned back in her chair, the words echoing in her mind. There was something intimate in the tone, something that felt as though the sender knew she was reading it at that exact moment. She scanned the folder, her eyes darting over audio logs, blurry photographs, and transcripts, each one older than the last. The earliest file dated back to 1956, referencing a project called EchoMind. The first transcript described experiments conducted on soldiers who claimed to hear instructions during their dreams. The commands did not come from voices in the room, but from unseen frequencies, vibrations that slipped past conscious awareness into the depths of the mind. The scientists called this phenomenon cognitive resonance. The soldiers, haunted by what they heard, called it the whisper. As Amira dug deeper, the story unfolded like a hidden history, buried beneath decades of denial and silence. The documents revealed that governments across the world had raced to weaponize the subconscious, not with hypnosis, but with sound. Frequencies between 18 and 20 hertz, too low for human ears to consciously perceive, could alter mood, memory, and obedience. Reports described how sustained exposure to these frequencies induced dissociation, followed by compliance. The subject, according to one memo, would obey the last emotional suggestion heard before the whisper began. The deeper Amira read, the stranger her laptop behaved. Files flickered open on their own. Audio clips played at random, filling the room with faint static and the sound of breathing. In one particularly chilling recording, she heard a voice, soft, almost gentle, speaking her name. At first, she dismissed it as a coincidence, an auditory illusion crafted by stress and exhaustion. But the more she listened, the clearer it became. The voice was not calling Amira Cole, but simply listener. Yet the message felt personal, directed straight at her. Days blurred into nights as Amira pieced together fragments of the project. The archives referenced a subject known only as Patient 77, a man who claimed he could hear thoughts before they were spoken aloud. The final entry about him was ominous. 77 no longer distinguishes his own thoughts from the transmission. He hears everything, even silence. Then, buried deep in the file, Amira discovered a map. It marked a remote location in Montana, Fort Wraith, a decommissioned research base shuttered in 1971. Driven by a mixture of dread and determination, Amira booked a flight, drawn by the promise of answers. Upon arrival, the town near Fort Wraith appeared abandoned. Buildings stood empty, their windows clouded with dust and neglect. The few locals she encountered avoided her gaze, shuffling away without a word. Only an old man, perched outside a shuttered diner, offered a warning in a trembling whisper. "You shouldn't go up there. They still talk in the wind." The road to the base was cracked and overgrown, swallowed by the relentless march of nature. With every step closer to the facility, the air grew heavier, thick with an unspoken presence. At the gates, she found a rusted metal sign, its letters worn away by time. Beyond it lay silence, not the quiet of sleep, but an emptiness so profound it pressed against her chest, making each breath a struggle. Inside, the base was a ruin of shattered glass and broken intercoms. Yet as Amira stepped into the control room, something extraordinary happened. Her phone, dead for hours, flickered to life. A recording played automatically, its voice calm and measured. "You've come far, listener. Farther than the others." Amira stood frozen, her heart pounding in her chest. The voice continued, weaving a narrative both unsettling and irresistible. "Do you understand now why they stopped the experiments? The whisper doesn't just rewrite memory, it transfers it. The mind is an echo chamber. Yours has just been tuned." A ringing,